식구님, 안녕하십니까?
Good morning, brothers and
원래
sisters.
많은 분들이
Usually, many
새해
people
인사를 하시는데
send their New Year's
저는
greetings
이제
at this time.
신년
But for
양력
me,
새해
I,
인사를
for
안
10
하고
years, I do not
다음
greet
달에
New Year based on
천기
solar
새해
calendar,
인사를
but I
하기로
will say
했습니다.
my New
양해해
Year's
주시기 바랍니다.
greetings next month
사실
based on the lunar
1월 달은
calendar.
영어로 January이지
Do you
않습니까?
know the truth about the word
January라는 말이
January?
어원이 뭐냐면
January is a word used in
로마
Roman Empire
제국에
as their
당시에
own god.
신들이 있었어요.
That means the god of
그래서
door
문의
or
신,
the god of
돌아가는
entering
문
the
있지
new
않습니까?
beginning.
문의 신, 또 새로운 시작의 신. 그렇게 사전에
You can
나와
find
있거든요.
this in a
근데
dictionary.
로마의 신들이
But the god
뭐냐면
of Rome
악령이지
is
않습니까?
an
악령이에요.
evil spirit.
그래서
So
양력의
in Western
영어
world,
아니면 영어
where they
스크립트로
use
뭐
the solar
돌려놓고
calendar,
이제
are still
서양
attending this
언어
evil god
들은
of the
다
Roman
그런
Empire.
로마 제국의 신들을 아직도 모시고 있는 거예요. 예. 갈수록 그 생각을
So
하니까
for me,
기분이 안
since
좋아서
I don't
아예
feel good about this fact, I used as much as possible the Cheongi calendar, and I don't use the solar calendar,
어렵지만은 좀
though it's a bit
무시하려고 하고
difficult.
있습니다. 그래서 오늘은
So today is
10월
2024,
26일
November 26.
새해는
We still
아직
have 1 month to go for the new
더
year to come
남아 있다는
in
것을
Korea.
저는 느끼고 있습니다. 한국어는 이제 1월 2월 날
In
숫자를
Korea,
붙이니까
there's
그런
no
문제가
problem
없는데
about it because you just put the number on the months. But
서구
in Western
문화권은 그런
culture,
문제가
it can be a
있습니다.
problem.
이 로마 제국이
Roman
2000년을
Empire
지나고
is still
아직도 우리를
dominating
지배하고
us
있다는
even
것입니다.
after 2000 years.
여러분 어떻습니까? 이번 주
How are you doing today?
부부 데이트 하셨습니까?
Did you do your couple date this week?
웃음소리가 나오는 거 보니까
I don't know whether your
예라는
answer is
뜻인지
yes or
아니라는
no
뜻인지
because you're just
모르겠습니다.
smiling.
저희는 했습니다.
For us, we did it.
돼지고기 먹고 싶다 그래서
My wife craved for pork, so we went to eat pork for lunch.
그리고 나서
After that, we went to cafe and took a coffee and shared the 3 thankful things to each other.
이대왕께서 말씀을
Second King also told that the relationship between couple is very important.
중요합니다. 지금은 감정
Now he talked about emotional control.
그것은 이제
He is talking about how to manage your negative emotions.
어떻게 관리하느냐 그런 내용이셨는데 부부 데이트는
During couples date, we don't talk about negative things, but share what are the thankful things.
문제가 있는 것을 말하는 자리가 아니고
That is not the time to talk about problems. Instead, we share what we are thankful of to each other. As Second King said, in our church, the culture of dating is different. In this present world, you can date with several people and have sexual relationships, and if you think that certain person fits you well, then that's the time they decide to marry and live together. But for our church, you go dating after you are engaged and married. So it's the other way around. In this world, you cannot find a lot of people dating after their marriage. Maybe because he got her already, so no need to exert more effort anymore. But for a couple, every day should be a new day to exert effort to strengthen the artistic relationship between the couple. In the Western world, when the couple reaches 60s, their children get out of the house and go into college. So when they graduate from high school, they leave their home. If a 20-year-old boy stays at home, it is strange. It's like he is mama's boy. So when all the children are gone, the couple will ask themselves, why are we staying together? Children are all gone. That is why there are a lot of older people who consider divorce. But that's not for us. our marriage is eternal. It is not till that do us part. It is forever. It is until the spirit world. Nowadays, when you go to wedding ceremonies, they promise to live together until death. But for us, it's not like that. We continue to live together even after death. As True Father said, separation of couple is a practice of secular world. But for us, it is an eternal marriage, so we need to strengthen the artistic relationship while on earth and be totally united before going to the spirit world. Actually, what I really want to share today is about the culture of heart. Also in family pledge, we always pledge that we will accomplish the culture of heart. Isn't it? Generally, we have a lot of differences with Christian culture. I also told you about this before. One of that is about the culture of heart, which True Father emphasized. Through the artistic connection, the world must be united. This is what True Father teaches. However, even if we had been cleansed of original sin and changed our blood lineage through the blessing, we still have the old bad habits and old mindset which make it difficult for us to establish the culture of heart. Because he cannot do anything but leave Family Fed in 2013, the second king left the Family Federation for world peace and he started to establish the sanctuary church. As he started, he said that we will make a totally different culture from the old church culture. He made it a policy to establish the artistic culture. This is a kind of revolution that many people, especially new members, might not be aware of. Old members may know about this, but I want to share it once again so that we might be able to find a way how to apply it on our present situation. For example, in the past, if we say the organization of Unification Church, there's a worldwide organization and there's an international leader, and under him there are continental leaders and then the national leaders, which is like a pyramid until the very bottom of the organization. However, for the second king, this cannot be. For those who have authority, they wield power. They make people follow them instead of making people follow True Father. That is why the second king appointed leaders to be responsible for each country, and he allowed them to make organization according to their own style. Or it is also okay not to create any organization. Second king gave them this freedom. In his speech, the members also can decide whether they want to join the organization that leaders made or they may decide not to. People might wonder, how can that be? We know that the object of our loyalty is only True Father. Second King clearly stated that we don't have to be loyal to an organization or a leader, but be loyal only to true father. Anybody who recognizes true father as the King of Kings, true parents, second advent of Jesus Christ, and recognize that second king is the only successor, inheritor, and representative of true father, and who also recognizes Shinjunim as the future third king, people does not have any obligation to join in any organization. But this does not mean that we don't have any organization. That's why today we are here together. We gathered here because we value. Once a week, we meet other family members and listen to speeches and share what happened in our family within the week. Because it's important for us to listen to true Father's word to start the week, we gather here together. As you have already read in the Cheon Seongyong, True Father said that in the future, I don't know when is that future, but it says in the future, sermons are not needed anymore. Then, what will be the content of our meeting? It will be the report of each family regarding their activities in the whole week. This is written in Cheon Seongyong. True Father said that in the future, our Sunday service is a report from families' activities within a week. Families who are doing good in their activities can become a model for other families, and they can also help others' families who are not doing well. For us, we haven't reached that stage yet, but that era will come. Actually, when I first went to Pennsylvania, Second King talked about what is the sanctuary church. I don't know if I translate it right, but this is what he said. Sanctuary church is a place where the blessed families who are ministering according to their own style gather freely. In this case, each central blessed families can each decide and share what kind of ministering or what kind of business they want to do within the providence, realm of True Father's dominion, or discuss any situation that occurred in your family within the week. This is the sanctuary church. Then, what is church? Church is the one that provides opportunities for education, training. You are already doing this, aren't you? Just like what I saw today in the advertisement, that there will be an education for the blessing candidates and there are activities for youth. Also, the activity that you are doing every Saturday at the Gwanghwamun Plaza, witnessing and training for peace police militia, etc. All of these are ministering activities of our blessed central families. Actually, in this case, the blessed central families are the subject. The church is the place where these kind of blessed central families gather and share what their family is doing and ask some people for them to do it together if they want. Recently, I received an email asking me when will the Second King start the Ocean Providence. I replied, you do it. It's not about waiting. We don't wait for the order of the second king. This is not the era of waiting when will the ocean providence starts. Those who think that ocean providence should start it, let them do it. If you don't have money to start, then make your own money. If you don't have people, then bring in people. Think about this. When True Father was in his Busan house, there was no money, there were no people. However, he made money, gathered people, and started the worldwide providence. True Father did not wait until money comes, and did not until there are people. True Father is not a passive person. If there is something that has to be done, he thinks, how can it be done? How can it be accomplished? And then start the business. We too have to learn this. The one who asked me about ocean providence is a Japanese member. It is not you. Seems like the person who is asking me about ocean providence is not yet used to this new culture of organization. Actually, this is a very new policy, and it is very unfamiliar for those who are used to be in a family federation culture. In past, it was a common practice to have one organization in each country, one organization in one continent. But now the second king has totally destroyed that common practice, meaning he revolutionized the concept of organization. I remember at the time what Gukjinim said, especially while looking at the Japan's situation. He said, because Japan is strongly tied up as an organization for thousands of years, in the future, many members who may seem are not registered in an organization can become loyal to the second king or any other organization. This is actually good. Actually, this is all about the past. At first, when people are dispersed, a lot of organizations can appear, and from that state, they can be again united artistically and become one again. It's important to go through this process. It's not about becoming one artificially, but make a new organization that unites in the heart, and we are in that process. The issue is about whether we are loyal to True Father and to the second king, his successor and inheritor. This means no need to be loyal to an organization. If we think through an old mindset, we might think that people who are not coming to church are backsliders and have fallen into Satan's domain, isn't it? Because we gave importance to an organization. But these days, we also have internet. So if there are some situations that we can't go to the church, we can share and listen to the sermons through the internet. We are living in that kind of era. So we can't judge people easily. We don't need to judge them. Actually, in Japan also, there are some other organizations loyal to Second King that are not in Sanctuary Church, which was established by Mrs. Erikawa. There are also members who are not registered in any organization. There's even one organization who decided to report to Korean leader Mr. Lee, even that organization is in Japan. That is also okay. That is fine. You can do whatever you want. You can even report to Europe leader instead of reporting to Korean leader, if you prefer. Anyway, nobody is doing this here in Korea. There's not much possibility about it, but if you want to do it, then do it. We can't imagine this way before, and some Southeast Asia members are choosing to connect to Korean national leader. On the other side, the national leaders of US, Australia, New Zealand, etc., those who were appointed as leaders are not making organization for managing all members who are under them. There are no organization in America. There are places like Pennsylvania and Tennessee that have an organization centered on Second King. But for the Western people, they have their own community and are having their own service there. One example is Panzer, who is president of America Church. We gather at Zoom once a week and can connect with him through it. It is the same in Europe. In Africa, some members also are saying that the appointed national leaders are not doing any activities. They just received the position but are not working as a leader. So members in Africa decided to make their own organization. This is what they did. They made their own organization. And actually, in a process of making that organization, I, as a mission department head, had a different opinion. I recommended to divide the Africa by language that people are using. But members said that they wanted to divide by north, south, east, and west. And Second King told to me not to give them order as a World Mission Department head, but let them do what they want to do. So for me, I can't give any order, and that's right. How much do you think is the budget for me as a World Mission Department head? None. There is nothing. Also, I don't have the authority to command or give order to each country or continental leaders to do something. But it doesn't mean that I'm not doing anything. I always receive a call from each country asking how to do or deal with certain situation. Then I give answers based on Second King's speeches and rulings that I've been studying. So my responsibility is education. Education. There are also some emails before asking if is it okay to do this or that. Then my answer was all the same. Do it according to your own discretion. Do whatever you want to do with your own freedom and responsibility. Since that was my answer always, there are no more email asking for of permission. But sometimes they come. There are also emails asking me to inquire with the Second King about their situation. However, I myself deal with it 100% and I don't bring it up to the Second King. Second King is a busy person moving by the guidance of True Father. He is a very busy person. If we always want to receive the order, he will become more busy. We can't make second king to be much more busy because of us, isn't it? Second king has a schedules of meetings with bikers in tennis and has meeting in Pennsylvania with patriots for the upcoming election. We have a lot of True Father's speech. What we have to do is just follow what True Father said. We just have to follow the second king's rulings. It's been more than 10 years since the second king started his ministry. No need for us to ask what to do, how to deal, etc. Now we don't have any new questions. If you search in the internet, you will find all the answers. We have been publishing all the sermons in the internet, right? It's open, no secrets. Actually, this is my role, to educate members this way. This is unimaginable for the old Unification or the Family Federation who following the old culture. However, if we, the Central Blessed families, are loyal to True Father, family can organize, manage the organization, and do anything what they want according to their own decision and discretion and judgment. This means practicing freedom and responsibility. We can do anything, but we take responsibility for whatever result we have. We are responsible for the consequences or outcome of our actions. If it's not working, then you can change your way. You don't need to ask whether you can change the style or not. You can change your way according to your own judgment. So some Japanese and American members are telling that we don't need a leader anymore, and some declared they will not go to church anymore, but just read and do hondoke at their homes. They don't connect to any organization and are saying they are liberated from the leaders. I think there are also some like this in Korea. However, we need leader. But this is not a time for old times leaders who managed members and demanded members to absolutely follow them. The era for this kind of leadership has passed away. In the beginning, old members are always telling me to control members. What are you doing? But what will I manage? No, I don't manage. Since we already have grown to maturity, we need to manage our own selves. We are no longer children. Also, in terms of understanding God's will, we are no longer children. True Father made Unification Church 1954, and how many years had already passed? If we are people who still need to be managed or be controlled, that's totally a failure. We must not be an object who are controlled by someone, and also not be a leader who are trying to control members. This does not mean we don't need leader, but we need leader with new style. We need a leader who can back up, support, and help in the activities of each Central Blessed families based on their own freedom and responsibility. A leader who can discuss and work together to find some solution to the difficulties Central Blessed families are facing, and a leader who can connect the families to other families who can be helpful for each family's situation. This kind of leaders are needed in this era. Since we still have the concept of old-fashioned way, it makes us forget these things. I think we are still in the process of transforming and going into a new culture. So we don't need to judge people who have not yet adopted this new culture. because this is all part of the process. It's a process. There's nothing that can be fully done in just one day. Isn't it that even God took 7 days to create the world? It didn't take one day, but 7 days. This is all process, the process of growth. Since we are very much influenced by the world for a long time, especially in Korea, where there is a strong tradition of Confucianism. The tradition of Confucianism is really strong. Confucianism has a lot of good points. However, there are also some parts that are problematic. As we study the course of True Father, what transpired before the birth of True Father? It is in the record that the whole family of True Father was converted into Christianity. This conversion to Christianity has a very important implication. Christianity carries what is lacking in Korea. What is lacking in Confucianism, in Taoism, and in the traditional Korean religious groups is present in Christianity. What is that? It is the personal God. What God had expected upon the arrival of True Father as the Messiah is that the whole country of Korea will be evangelized through Christianity. That is, I think, God had expected. If that had happened, the whole of Korean nation will understand the personal God that is being taught in the Bible, and Koreans can learn to follow this personal God. Even until this time, there are people whom the second king is guiding who don't really understand the personal God. Look at what the Cheon is saying. Our object of loyalty in the end is God. It also states that our loyalty to God is far more important than our loyalty to our parents. From the viewpoint of Confucianism, the second king is unfilial or immoral. Some people are saying in Korean tradition, if the father dies, naturally children should follow the mother. The second king should follow that too. They are the people who don't understand the personal God. That is the only conclusion I can say. This is not only about the organization. The second king had also totally revolutionized the content of blessing. He revolutionized about it. He established totally different rule compared to the previous rules. There's a certain rule saying that in some cases you can do the blessing ceremony even in the places where the church is not connected to any organization, though not everyone is doing this. We have a lot of sanctuary church members. Among them are families who are not close to the church. For example, there are members like this in Russia, which is a large continent. We also have these members in countries wherein Unification Church is banned, and also those who can continue to worship only by underground means. These members can't be blessed under any church organization. So he made that rule considering these members' situations. He also made rules for other situations. This means that the blessing ceremonies that are done and recognized by a church or an organization are not the only ones we accept as a blessing. If you go to the Sanctuary US site, there's a blessing kit that you can order. It's for worldwide delivery for anyone who orders the kit. If you look at that one box blessing kit, they are all needed materials for conducting the blessing ceremony, which you can officiate with your family. So you can even have your children's blessing ceremony inside your room. There are holy wine, holy water, and holy salt. There are also the scarf, candle, and match. Everything you needed for the blessing are in that box. You can hold the blessing ceremony in your family home using the blessing kit while watching 2 Kings recorded blessing ceremony video. The important thing is that you should do it while watching 2 Kings video. Because the most important thing in blessing is reporting and prayer to God. It is the 2 Kings prayer and report to God. So when you receive the prayer of 2 King through the video, you can receive the same glory like you participated the ceremony in the video. There are also sites in the Sanctuary US Church for the registration of people who want or receive the blessing. But it's up to you if you want to register or not. If someone registers there, automatically mails will be sent to you. Mails will be sent to me. I also just recently received some mails from that site. It's good if you register. If not, that's fine too. Because as 2 King told, if God knows about it, then that's it. You will not be asked questions such as, oh, you're not registered on website, or you did not register in the church. There's nothing like that. God knows what is our situation, what is our position, and which lineage do we have. Everything will be shown up if we go to the spirit world. Someone asked like this, then what will happen to the church? If people can hold the blessing ceremony without church, what will happen to the church? You don't need to be worried about this. The 2 King said that is not the role of the church. It is not about managing the members. The role of the church is to provide education and training. Yeah. What are we going to do to train and educate? The purpose of God's creation is centered on the family. It's not centered on the church. Is it not that way? Isn't it right? The problem is in a family. God created Adam, and through Adam, He created Eve. Then after that, did He intend them to make a church? No. He intended them to create a family. The church came about after the fall of man. Because of the fall, the church came to exist because the tie or connection between God and man had been destroyed. For the sake of restoring that connection, church and religion come about. When True Father established the Family Federation, he said, now is the time has come when we don't need salvation anymore. He said, we have to commend the family. But when True Father said that, are we already in that era wherein we don't use salvation anymore? When True Father said that, True Father was talking about the future. Actually, this time we still need salvation, right? If we need salvation, we still need the church. We are actually going to the era, little by little, when we can make the family as a center more than the church. This is all in the process, so you don't have to go away and leave the church. We still need the church. So, in the process of substantializing substantializing God's ideal on earth, the church role is decreasing while the family's role is increasing. You may have seen already the 천일국 Constitution. I looked at it and I saw something that will surprise some people. There's an article that drug is not prohibited. It is not allowed to prohibit drugs. This kind of content is written there. What is this talking about? So drugs are legally allowed? But then it also says it can be regulated like paying the tax. So what is the meaning of this? What is it saying about the bad drugs? What it is saying about the difference between good and evil? It is saying that it is the responsibility of the family to teach that drugs are bad and that is not the responsibility of the government. This is the ideological background of this constitution. Because government is in a position of an archangel, should we need to learn the good and evil from an archangel, from a servant? No. Isn't this so? We just have to learn God's word and just follow it. That is all. True Father said true love is stronger than drugs. If you are drunk in true love, that is stronger than the drugs or alcohol. So you will not even think about drugs because true love feels much more greater than drugs. So church came about because of the fall, and while we are going away farther from fall, the role of church becomes smaller. To establish this foundation, it needs an adequate time. So, where are we now in the process? What should the church do for us? I think that must be decided by each church members based on their own judgment. Anyway, the main point is that basically the church is a place for education and training. When you look the family pledge, it has a lot of contents connected to family, not to the church. We are pledging, we will make this kind of family, we will establish 4 great dreams of heart and 3 great kingships. However, there's not even one pledge that we will make this kind of church. So, in conclusion, family is the issue. Because of that, I'm always telling everyone about the couple's date. Isn't it that family will be completed and perfected when couple's heart becomes one? Couples must become one. Even if children lost their faith and left the church, if their parents becomes a united couple, that couple is actually making a love magnet. Those children can be attracted to that love magnet. Couples can bring back their children through that love magnet. But if couples are fighting, there's no hope. However, if couples become one, there's a way for children to come back. It's by making love magnet. So in the future, I always ask you to do couples date. And I hope your answer will be yes. What is the basic unit of Kingdom of Heaven? It's family, not the church. So what Second King is talking about, couples one-on-one date, children's one-on-one date, etc. These are all for perfection of the family. He also talked about couples today, right? Especially women, about emotional control for women. I think it's not only for the woman. Even though I'm not a woman, but I'm also a person who needs to control my emotions. I think it should be for both. I remember what True Father said. When he got blessed in 1960, there was a certain time in the process of educating some people. He got so angry that he went to the toilet. Do you remember that? Is it only me who heard that?
화장실에 들어갔다고 하시죠? 여러분 생각나세요? 저만 그것을 봤나요? 아니죠?
I'm not the only one, right? True Father said goes to toilet every time he feels angry, and he stays there quite a long time before coming out again. I think you also know about this. This was True Father's way to control his emotion. And what Second King recommended was go out for 20 minutes. Anyway, there are many ways how to control emotions.
그런데 제가 한국에 와서
I heard many stories from members as I am in the headquarters.
이야기를 많이 들었습니다.
So when Second King came here to Korea, he commented that you are no longer fighting like you do before. That's good. But when I dig in deeper, I felt that there is still hard time to be united artistically.
심정적으로 하나가 되려면은 거리가 있구나라는 것을 느끼는 내용도 있습니다. 특히
Especially, it is hurting to hear about this, though I don't know whether this is true or not. But I heard that some blessed families are doing things that should not be done by blessed families. So I thought, how can do we forgive inside the realm of the artistic culture? What shall we do about those situations? A while ago, Second King read Matthew 6, and I thought he will read until the Lord's Prayer, but he didn't reach until there. Anyway, if you look at Jesus' prayer, the Lord's Prayer, there's a phrase that says, "Forgive our sins as we forgive those who sin against us."
너희 죄를 용서하시고 라는 말씀을 예수님께서 지도 기도문 속에 넣으셨습니다. 그리고 예수님이
And there's a story that Jesus told in Matthew chapter 18, verse 21 to 35.
18장입니다. 18장 21절부터 공격하겠습니다. 그때에 베드로가
The parable of the unmerciful servant. Then Peter came to Jesus and asked, "Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me? Up to 7 times?" Jesus answered, "I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 times." Therefore, the kingdom of heaven is like a king who wanted to settle accounts with his servants. As he began the settlement, a man who owed him 10,000 bags of gold was brought to him. Since he was not able to pay, the master ordered that he and his wife and his children and all that he had be sold to repay the debt. At this, the servant fell on his knees before him. "Be patient with me," he begged, "and I will pay back everything." The servant's master took pity on him, canceled the debt, and let him go. But when that servant went out, he found one of his fellow servants who owed him 100 silver coins. He grabbed him and began to choke him. "Pay back what you owe me," he demanded. His fellow servant fell to his knees and begged him, Be patient with me, and I will pay it back. But he refused. Instead, he went off and had the man thrown into prison until he could pay the debt. When the other servants saw what had happened, they were outraged and went and told their master everything that had happened. Then the master called the servant in. "You wicked servant," he said. "I cancelled all that debt of yours because you begged me to. Shouldn't you have had mercy on your fellow servant just as I had on you?" In anger, his master handed him over to the jailers to be tortured until he should pay back all he owed. This is how my Heavenly Father will treat each of you unless you forgive your brother or sister from your heart. Actually, the forgiveness is an important thing. I told you before that I hated one church leader for 20 years. But finally that person came to me and asked kind of forgiveness to me, and that's the time when I could forgive that person. But if I look back it, I was not matured enough. I must not wait for him to ask forgiveness from me, but I should have first forgiven. It was a loss for me that I carried that hatred for 20 years, wasn't it? For 20 years, I had been praying to meet that bad person in the dark place so that I can beat him or do something to him. Do you think God can be happy with that kind of prayer? Satan is happy, right? That was a sin that I committed. He actually did bad things to me, but I have forgotten that I must forgive him so that God can also forgive me. I was reciting the Lord's Prayer since I was young, so I already knew about this, but when the reality comes in, it's very difficult to practice. Isn't this true for you too? Do you mean to say that those who commit sin don't have any responsibility? That is not so. Based on the principle, there's an indemnity condition. There's no exception. We cannot pay indemnity in the spirit world. That is the leader's problem. However, for me, I felt that I should have forgiven him first. If there's that kind of member, an environment have to be created for forgiveness to come about. Isn't it that love can do that? Sometimes, if we see that kind of member, we judge him as Satan. But do you think that forgiveness can come about in that kind of environment? Maybe it's possible, but most of the time it's not. That person will probably defend himself and say, "No, that's not true." In this case, the conflicting relationship will become harder. That's what I think. It's very easy to say the world of artistic culture, but to practice the culture of heart in reality is really difficult. But we must always think that we are different from the outside world. Because the world is doing this, let us also do the same. We must not think conventionally like this way. True Father sometimes describes us as secret emissaries. Secret emissaries that God has sent to the evil world. We are the secret emissaries who receive a mission and have to actualize it in this evil world. So usually secret emissaries have a commander. Usually there is a command system and we must act according to that system. So if we think like what our society or environment is thinking, then it is not the right way. So it's not right to act conventionally. We are the secret emissaries on this evil world. Also, we are the core people who can change the world. Recently, Mr. Lee Sang-yeol, Korean national leader, is doing a very admirable activity. He is dealing with different Christian pastors. When I reported this to the second king, he was happy about it. I am looking forward for its development. If those pastors think and wanted to know what is Sanctuary Church and decides to join our service, we have to think what will be their impression about us when they come to church to see what is our community. True Father said we need passport, visa, and stamp to go to the kingdom of heaven. First, we need to receive the stamp. The first stamp is from Satan. Who is Satan? Satan are those people around us. They are people around us in our society. If these people say that those people in second floor, Korean church building, they are a small group of people but their heart is so great that they have a heart that you can't find in others. I also want to join them and go there. When we hear them say this way, it means you have gotten the stamp from Satan. But when they come here and felt that we are not different from other churches and say that they are fighting against each other, they are the same as other churches, if this happens, then we received a failing mark. We are people who listened to the words of Second Advent of Christ. We have a very important thing that others can only dream about. But we must not just carry it. We need to practice it physically and show to people through our actions how important and how valuable is this thing that we have. Faith is a gift. Not everybody has faith. Also, Second King told that even his 5 children, there are some children whose faith comes so fast, but other children don't have that. Faith is not automatically distributed to everyone, and also it is not a thing that everyone can have. If people who don't have faith go to a church, and if they can feel that we are different and that love is overflowing in that place, that church, they can be inspired. When they can recognize that, then they will automatically come here. Even if you lock the door, they will still want to come in. That era will come if we do our responsibility, if we will create that artistic culture. When I was on a theology school, there was a professor in the name of Mr. Kim Young-eun. He has already ascended to the spirit world. Maybe you all know this professor if you have studied the history of the Unification Church. I heard this directly from Professor Kim. He said, in early the stage of our church, he asked, True Father, why people don't join in even though we have a new teaching? Then True Father answered, because we don't have a plate. So I always think that we need to make the plate. We need to create a heart. Second King started alone after he was kicked out from the East Garden in 2013. The America headquarters even took away his car. Actually, he became homeless. He didn't have a house to live like Jesus Christ, so he lived in the underground floor of his elder brother's home. That is where he started his ministry. However, because he has a artistic plate, automatically, little by little, members around him heard about him and joined him until now. So now there's a foundation of Second King in Korea, Japan, Southeast Asia, Australia, New Zealand, Europe, Africa, etc. This happened because he has that plate. But it will have some limit if he does it alone. So we also need to gather people through our own missionary activities, through any kind of ministry based on our own judgment and decision. And if we need money and people for that activity, we must find by our own way and report it. What is reporting? It is offering to God. We report to God the result we have through our activities. This is the result of our activity. It's not asking permission, but is reporting the result of the activities that are inspired by God. Then God can receive that result, and He can use that condition to widen the foundation for His providence. In this way, we can create an organization based on a culture of heart. So I hope we can move forward with this goal to create that artistic foundation. Today, this way, I want to end my message. Thank you.